What a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Selamat datang dan juga selamat malam. Senada cinta bersemi di antara kita, menyadang anggunnya puranan jiwa asmara, terlanjur untuk terhenti di jalan yang telah tertempuh semenjak ini, sehidup semati. Kian lama kian pasrah ku rasakan jua, janji yang terucap tak mungkin terhapus saja. Walau rintangan berjuta, walau cobaan memaksa diriku terjerat di peluk asmara. Bersama dirimu terbebas dari nestapa, dalam wangi bunga cinta-cinta nan bahagia. Walau rintangan berjuta, walau cobaan memaksa diriku terbuai di batas asmara. Kian lama kian pasrah ku rasakan jua, janji yang terucap tak mungkin terhapus saja. Walau rintangan berjuta, walau cobaan memaksa diriku terjerat di peluk asmara. Berdosa terlambatlah sudah menyentuh sanubariта, semudah ku sangka. Yakinkan cintaku, yakinkan segalanya, perlahan dan pasti daku kan melangkah menuju damai jiwa. Bersemi di antara kita, menyadang anggunnya purana jiwa asmara, terlanjur untuk terhenti di jalan yang telah tertempuh semenjak dini, sehidup semati. Terlambat untuk berdosa, terlambatlah sudah menyentuh sanubariта, semudah ku sangka. Yakinkan cintaku, yakinkan segalanya, perlahan dan pasti daku kan melangkah. Terlambat untuk berdusta, terlambatlah sudah menyentuh sanubarita, semudah ku sangka. Yakinkan cintaku, yakinkan segalanya, perlahan dan pasti daku kan melangkah menuju damai jiwa. sudah menyentuh sanubari tak semudah ku sangka. Yakin akan cintamu, yakinkan segalanya. Perlahan dan pasti aku kan melangkah terlambat. Untuk berdosa terlambatlah sudah menyentuh sanubari tak semudah ku sangka. Yakin akan cintamu, yakinkan segalanya. Perlahan dan pasti aku kan melangkah menuju damai jiwa.
Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, Ministers, Ambassadors, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good day to all of you. And ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, we would like to introduce ourselves. My name is Dion Edward.
My name is Micha Yusuf, and it is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the first ever hybrid celebration of World Habitat Day. Thank you so much for joining us. And for the first time to open this agenda, Dion and ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite the Mayor of Surabaya, the Honorable Tri Risma Harini, to do the opening remarks for this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, please welcome the Mayor of Surabaya, Honorable Tri Risma Harini.
His Excellencies Presiden Joko Widodo, President of Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency United Nations Secretary General Mr. Antonio Guterres, His Excellency Mr. Suharto Monoarfa, Minister of National Development Planning Republic of Indonesia. Good evening from the city of Surabaya, and welcome to the first virtual global observance of the World Habitat Day. Hosting this global observance of the World Habitat Day 2020 is an opportunity that Surabaya should be proud of. Our sincere gratitude to Mr. President, Republic of Indonesia, UN Secretary General, Ministry of Public Works and Housing, and our long-standing partner, UN Habitat, for making Surabaya hosting this global event possible. The city government of Surabaya and all citizens have been so excited to prepare the physical World Habitat Day celebration this year, and welcome you all here today in the City Hall of Surabaya, joining a festive celebration and gala dinner. However, due to the pandemic, we have to do it in hybrid, a global virtual meeting and physical event here in Surabaya. Along this year, we are all tested with the outbreak of pandemic in which people's economic condition is severely impacted with lower purchasing power to acquire decent housing. Distinguished partners, Surabaya, the second biggest city in Indonesia, with total population of 3.1 million people at night and around 5 million people a day, share common challenges with other big cities around the world, especially in dealing with the COVID-19 outbreak. Knowing that Surabaya has a quite high urbanization and population growth. Before the pandemic, Surabaya enjoyed a robust economic growth that goes above the provincial and national rate. However, we also experienced a downturn along this year due to the COVID-19. Today, we have at some point managed to control the spread of the disease and keeping the city open by applying strict health protocols in all areas. On this Habitat Day, we expect to also hear many knowledge and lesson learned from other cities and how to recover and build back better. Another challenge we face is the impact of the global warming, including natural disaster, landslides, earthquake, and fire. Surabaya is located only 5 meters above sea level, and it even becomes on 2 meters below sea level during the high tide. Therefore, managing flood caused by heavy rain and sea tide has been our concern in the past 10 years. We can now enjoy the reduction of the flooding from around 50% out of total area to only 2% remaining. Moreover, Surabaya was known as a hot and dry city. With an excessive greening project we have undertaken, we managed to reduce the city temperature up to degrees Celsius. This achievement becomes possible as we built 475 city parks, 112 hectares of urban forests, converse, 2,871 hectares of mangrove forests, as well as creating 132 hectares of green median. Ladies and gentlemen, together with us today in Surabaya is one of UN Habitat Scroll of Honor Award winners, Dr. Jose David Alvarez. Welcome, Dr. Jose, who has been traveling all the way from Mexico to Surabaya to receive the award plaque. We really appreciate your coming. It was planned that the plaque is handed over by representative of the United Nations in Indonesia. However, the pandemic has once again restricted them to travel. Therefore, we thought reducing the meaning of the awarding ceremony. Allow me to later on presenting the award as the host of the World Habitat Day. Witnesses virtually by Madam Yamuna Muhammad Sarif from Malaysia. Finally, I wish everyone enjoy the global celebration of the World Habitat Day in their respective country. Please accept our warmest regards from Surabaya, and I hope by connecting online, you can feel the same excitement and warmth as what we share here now in Surabaya. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Mayor of Surabaya, the Honorable Tri Risma Harini, for the opening remarks. Thank you very much. Kindly be seated.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, to continue our agenda, we will now see a video message coming from the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres.
Each year, World Habitat Day focuses attention on the state of the world's towns and cities. This year's observance highlights the centrality of housing as a driver for sustainable urban development. Currently, 1 billion people live in overcrowded settlements with inadequate housing. By 2030, that number will rise to 1.6 billion. Action is needed now to provide low-income families and vulnerable populations with affordable housing, with security of tenure and easy access to water, sanitation, transport and other basic services. To meet global demand, more than 96,000 housing units will need to be completed every day, and they must be part of the green transition. The urgency of improving living conditions has been brought to the fore by COVID-19, which has devastated the lives of millions in cities. Access to clean water and sanitation, along with social distancing, are key responses to the pandemic. Yet, in slums, it has proved difficult to implement these measures. This means an increased risk of infection, not only within slums, but in all cities, many of which are largely serviced by low-income, informal sector workers living in informal settlements. On World Habitat Day, in this crucial decade of action to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, I call for heightened efforts to promote the partnerships, pro-poor policies and regulations needed to improve housing in cities. As we strive to overcome the pandemic, address the fragilities and inequalities it has exposed, and combat climate change, now is the time to harness the transformative potential of urbanization for the benefit of people and planet.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the video message from the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres. And now we will see a video message from the President of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Joko Widodo.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Yang saya hormati para Menteri Kabinet Indonesia Maju, yang saya hormati Direktur Eksekutif United Nations Habitat, yang saya hormati Wali Kota Surabaya, yang saya hormati para delegasi internasional dan para pemenang Scroll of Honor Award dan hadirin undangan yang berbahagia. Atas nama pemerintah dan rakyat Indonesia, saya menyampaikan selamat datang kepada seluruh delegasi dan seluruh pemenang Scroll of Honor Award dari berbagai negara. Adalah sebuah kehormatan bagi rakyat Indonesia bahwa kota Surabaya dipercaya sebagai tuan rumah penyelenggara di Global Observance of the WorldHabitatDay tahun 2020. Kita bertemu di kota Surabaya ini untuk meyakinkan kepada dunia bahwa agenda baru perkotaan New Urban Agenda tahun 2036 tidak bisa ditunda-tunda lagi. Saat ini 55% penduduk dunia tinggal di perkotaan. Di tahun 2050, jumlahnya diperkirakan meningkat menjadi 68%. Laju peningkatan tertinggi terjadi di benua Asia dan Afrika. Indonesia di tahun 2030 diprediksi memiliki jumlah penduduk hampir 300 juta jiwa. 63,4% tinggal di perkotaan. Karena itulah persoalan penataan perkotaan dan agenda baru perkotaan menjadi sangat penting. Jika tidak disiapkan secara serius, pertumbuhan pesat masyarakat tersebut bisa memicu permasalahan, mulai dari masalah kepadatan dan kemiskinan, masalah lingkungan dan ketersediaan ruang publik, ketersediaan infrastruktur dasar, terutama air bersih dan sanitasi, termasuk masalah perumahan dan berbagai masalah perkotaan lainnya. Namun, jika kita tangani dengan baik, saya berkeyakinan bahwa urbanisasi dapat menjadi peluang yang luar biasa bagi kemajuan bangsa. Bisa menjadi pusat kreativitas dan inovasi, bisa memacu pertumbuhan ekonomi, serta meningkatkan kualitas hidup dan kesejahteraan warganya. Hadirin yang saya hormati, tema Housing for All, a Better Urban Future merupakan agenda yang tepat untuk kita semua, untuk seluruh dunia, bahwa rumah adalah kebutuhan dasar semua orang di seluruh dunia, bahwa rumah akan memperkuat keluarga sebagai pilar utama kekuatan bangsa, dan rumah merupakan benteng pertahanan pertama melawan berbagai risiko kesehatan, termasuk pandemi COVID-19. Pemerintah Indonesia berupaya keras agar setiap warga negara dapat menempati rumah layak huni. Dan sejak tahun 2015 telah dilaksanakan program 1 juta rumah. Target pembangunan 1 juta unit rumah per tahun sudah berhasil dilampaui pada tahun 2018 dengan fokus pada masyarakat berpenghasilan rendah. Kami terus mengembangkan inovasi pembiayaan untuk meningkatkan akses rumah bagi masyarakat berpenghasilan rendah, partisipasi swasta, partisipasi masyarakat, dan partisipasi lembaga keuangan terus kita dorong. Pelaksanaan Undang-Undang Tabungan Perumahan Rakyat atau TAPERA yang memberikan jaminan ketersediaan sumber dana jangka panjang dan berkelanjutan terus kita jaga, serta keterbukaan informasi dan kemudahan komunikasi terus kita kembangkan untuk memudahkan akses rumah bagi masyarakat berpenghasilan rendah. Pemerintah Indonesia juga memberikan perhatian serius pada peningkatan kualitas kampung kumuh, program perbaikan kampung atau Kampung Improvement Program, dan program Kotaku, Kota Tanpa Kumuh, menitik beratkan pada kolaborasi antara pemerintah, pemerintah daerah, swasta, dan masyarakat dalam menyediakan pelayanan dasar seperti air bersih dan sanitasi yang layak. Hadirin sekalian yang saya hormati, saat ini Indonesia seperti negara-negara lain di dunia sedang menangani penyebaran COVID-19. Kami menjadikan pandemi ini sebagai pembelajaran untuk membangun perkotaan yang tangguh di masa depan. Kekuatan komunitas berbasis rukun tetangga dan rukun warga kita aktifkan untuk pemantauan penyebaran pandemi, membangun basis data penularan dan dukungan terhadap isolasi mandiri, dan membantu penyaluran jaring perlindungan sosial kepada warga terdampak. Selama pandemi, kami menyalurkan berbagai skema bantuan sosial seperti paket sembako, bantuan sosial tunai, subsidi listrik, subsidi gaji, bansos produktif, kartu prakerja, dan padat karya tunai. Pandemi COVID juga menjadi momentum pembelajaran dan refleksi untuk merancang kebijakan perencanaan dan pengelolaan perkotaan yang inklusif dan berkeadilan, meningkatkan ketangguhan dalam menghadapi bencana alam maupun bencana non-alam, termasuk ketangguhan terhadap wabah penyakit. Saya sangat berharap peringatan Hari Habitat Dunia tahun 2020 ini dapat dimanfaatkan untuk saling berbagi gagasan, bertukar pengetahuan, keahlian dan pengalaman, menjalin kerjasama dan memperkuat kolaborasi untuk meningkatkan ketangguhan kota menghadapi pandemi dan bencana alam lainnya. Terima kasih saya sampaikan, selamat memperingati Hari Habitat Dunia tahun 2020. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a speech coming from our President, Mr. Joko Widodo, showing his full support to the World Habitat Day. For all we know, World Habitat Day has been celebrated on the first Monday of every year since 1986.
We will now hear from the host of the Global Observance last year, which took place in Mexico City. The Honorable Martha Delgado, Undersecretary for Multilateral Affairs and Human Rights, Mexico, will deliver the message. The screen is yours.
Good morning to all. I am very happy to join you today in this magnificent open ceremony for 2020's World Habitat Day. I bring cordial greetings to everyone from the last year World Habitat Day. I wish that all of you and your close ones have remained safe and healthy in the of pandemic. I would like to start by thanking Executive Sharif and all the authorities of Indonesia for coordinating this important event and for your leadership on urban excellence and innovation. I am grateful for the opportunity to address all of day devoted to holding a dialogue, observing and reflecting on one of the most valued things to every one of us, which is our homes. Based on this, I was extremely happy when I found year's World Habitat Day would focus on housing for all, a better urban future. Being a human right, housing is a catalyst for sustainability and equality, as it contributes to an holistic development of communities. Well-managed housing can enhance social cohesion and community integration. And this year has proven the deep importance of ensuring inclusive calls for urgent actions in the matter of adequate housing, as we have come to realize that a house is much more than just a place to sleep, but rather a commodity for our well-being. Second segment of the population have been forced to remain in their houses. We have become painfully aware of the need to have decent living spaces that allow us to maintain our physical and mental health and livelihood. More often, we cannot currently say that the home, due to the multiple reasons, houses still demand access to services and proximity to our workplace in order to avoid as possible the risk. Finally, we have seen the disproportionate impacts of housing precariousness, overcrowding, and homelessness on vulnerable population, which increases and accelerates our exposure. Hence, the urgent need to build sustainable cities and communities. Fortunately, since 2016, with the adoption of the states and agencies, have had a clear direction on how to ensure that all people have access to adequate housing and basic services. Undoubtedly, there are still many issues that are needed to be addressed, mostly to improving governance, ease of access to financing, and enhancing capacity building. Nonetheless, I believe governments, private sector, and civil society have become more aware and responsive and implement innovative urban solutions. The best example of this are today's awardees who have come together to show that urban sustainability is not only a slogan, but rather a concept implemented on the ground. And I congratulate all the winners. Above all, you are an inspiration to all of us to take action. As a president of UN Habitat Assembly, on hosting a myriad event, debates, and conference dedicated to facilitate the sharing of the knowledge and capacity building. We have access to the most efficient and effective solution, and cooperation is the way to achieve the best outcome for all. Let us continue working together to build sustainable, resilient cities to all, so that more and more people can get access to better conditions related to their health, dignity, safety, and well-being. I wish you a productive and fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Undersecretary for Multilateral Affairs and Human Rights, the Honorable Martha Delgado. Thank you so much for joining us.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have a special video message from the UN Special Rapporteur on the right to adequate housing, Mr. Balakrishnan Rajagopal.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to join you all today on the occasion of World Habitat Day. I regret that I'm not able to be there personally due to the COVID-19 crisis and travel restrictions. Housing for all is the theme for the World Habitat Day, and it has never been more obvious how urgent that message is than it is during COVID-19. As I point out in my forthcoming report to the UN General Assembly on COVID-19 and the right to adequate housing, housing has always been a matter of life and death. Having a home is central to provide shelter against rain, storm, cold, or heat. It is also the first line of defense against extreme events and crises, such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Our home is essential for accessing job opportunities, hospitals, schools, food, sanitation, transportation, water, and energy, and other public services. Thus, housing is not only a human right on its own, but also a precondition for the enjoyment of many other fundamental rights, including dignity and overall well-being. The COVID-19 crisis has reminded us of this most acutely. At the peak of the COVID-19 emergency response, more than 3.9 billion people, or half of the world's population, were asked or ordered to stay at home by their governments. They were also asked to socially or physically distance themselves from people outside their household. Yet for a majority of these people, these emergency orders to prevent the spread of the virus have been difficult, if not impossible, to follow. Billions live today in informal settlements or in overcrowded homes where physical distancing is not an option. A massive eviction crisis looms large for renters, while many millions of refugees and internally displaced people, as well as millions of people who are in situations of homelessness, do not have a place to call their home. Forced evictions have continued, if not accelerated, during the pandemic in too many countries, exposing vulnerable groups to higher risks of contacting the virus. For many women, children, and members of the LGBT community around the world, staying at home has also meant being in a place they cannot call safe, where they have been subjected to increased risks of domestic abuse. People in psychiatric and social care institutions, in migrant worker hostels, prisons, and care homes for the elderly have been left unprotected, resulting in high rates of infection and death. Alarmingly, the infection and mortality rates in too many countries are far worse among their racial, ethnic, and other minorities and indigenous peoples. COVID-19 has not been equal in its impacts, which is an unfortunate result of pre-existing discrimination and inequalities in societies. The COVID-19 crisis has therefore stressed the urgency of treating housing as a fundamental human right and not as a commodity. It has pushed governments and others to recognize and address the pre-existing housing crisis, with almost a quarter of the global population not having a safe place to live in peace and dignity. Many COVID-19 emergency response measures have shown that right to housing can actually be realized when local and national governments put housing at the center of their political agenda. Many governments have been able to declare temporary bans on evictions, house the homeless, and offer protection to renters through rent caps, subsidies, and other social and financial support. Many of these initiatives have proved that housing as a human right is central to the management of the pandemic. They now need to be put on a durable and sustainable footing as part of a recovery and rebuilding plan, with housing as a human right firmly at the center of it. It is time now to capitalize on the measures that have been put in place during the pandemic as emergency responses and to ensure that we do not go back to the pre-pandemic policies, which will further exacerbate the pre-existing inequalities. Millions of people are at risk of losing their homes once temporary bans and evictions are lifted. People lack funds to pay their rents or mortgages, emergency social support payments expire, and homelessness skyrockets. Thus, the temporary measures such as eviction bans need to continue during the pandemic. But beyond that, decent housing for all needs to be put at the center of the recovery, embedded in sustainable urban and economic policies. In my forthcoming report to the UN General Assembly on COVID-19 and the right to adequate housing, I have made a number of recommendations which, if accepted and implemented, will address housing for all without discrimination. Among many recommendations, I have called for a global moratorium on forced evictions during the pandemic, to collect and make public data on COVID-19 and its disaggregated impact on the right to adequate housing in terms of multiple identities and vulnerabilities, arrange accommodations for people experiencing homelessness during the duration of the crisis, and make plans to exit people into permanent housing, improve and continue social protection measures during the massive unemployment crisis due to the economic impact of COVID-19, decongest prisons, detention camps, and our other institutions, and provide alternative accommodations to persons in such institutions. I have also called for the right to housing to be at the forefront of response and recovery measures and ensure that sufficient resources are allocated towards realizing the right to housing for all, to ensure that the response and recovery measures are not discriminatory, to end forced evictions permanently and enact laws to ensure an eviction process which is fully consistent with international human rights law, and to put in place a number of structural measures which will ensure affordable housing for all by ensuring unemployment support and protecting the rights of tenants. Ladies and gentlemen and excellencies, we are presently at a crossroads. To address the challenges revealed during the COVID-19 crisis, a framework of shared and collective response is needed, as the UN Secretary General reminded us in his report on shared responsibility, global solidarity, responding to the socioeconomic impacts of COVID-19. Ensuring the right to adequate housing is a shared responsibility of national and local governments, civil society, the private sector, and the international community, and for which they're all accountable. Only together we can make sure that no one is left behind. I welcome an opportunity to engage in constructive dialogue with governments and other stakeholders about these and other recommendations that emerge from the report, so that we all work towards making housing a reality for all, which is indeed a question of life and death, as COVID-19 crisis has reminded us. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a special message and support coming from Mr. Balakrishnan Rajagopal.
And distinguished guests, for the next agenda, we will hear from the Executive Secretary of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, Ms. Armida Salsia Ali Shahbana.
His Excellency Joko Widodo, President of Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Minister Basuki Hadi Mulyono, Ibu Tri Risma Harini, Honorable Mayor of Surabaya, Ibu Maimunah Muhammad Sharif, Executive Director of UN Habitat, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. It is my pleasure to join you virtually from Bangkok for the global observance of World Habitat Day in 2020. I'm delighted to be with you alongside partners from UN Habitat and the Ministry of Public Works and Housing of Indonesia. These are partnerships we value greatly at ESCAP, not only to make this annual commemoration possible, but to give our collective work the breadth and depth needed to shape practical policy solutions for sustainable cities and human settlements in the region. As emphasized by the UN Secretary General in his recent policy brief, COVID-19 in an urban world, urban solutions are vital as countries respond to and recover from the pandemic. In line with local imperatives for COVID-19 recovery, cities play an essential role in delivering the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. As highlighted in the ESCAP UN Habitat Future of Asian and Pacific Cities Report 2019 was a historical moment when the region's population became majority urban. We are now home to 60% of the world's urban population. So how cities recover is critical to the well-being and livelihoods of more than 2.3 billion people. And another 1.3 billion people will live in Asian and Pacific cities by 2050. That is the equivalent of adding 4 Tokyo-sized cities every year. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the theme for this year is Housing for All, a Better Urban Future. Especially in the aftermath of the pandemic, we must ensure that this ambition is achieved. Adequate shelter and housing for all is essential if we are to build resilient and inclusive cities. Let us remember that the global urban housing crisis forces around 1 billion people, or 24% of the world's urban population, to reside in slums and informal settlements, and more than a quarter live in Asia and Pacific. Exacerbating the impact of pandemics such as COVID-19, the urban poor with limited or no income during lockdowns in many countries face the risk of eviction, while overcrowding in low-quality housing increases the risk of rapid transmission. Stay at home is simply not possible for many without security of tenure in Asia-Pacific cities. To realize a future vision of cities without slums, we need to make large-scale public investments in affordable and adequate housing and slum upgrading to ensure that marginalized groups have access to shelter that facilitates physical and mental health during the pandemic and beyond. Future-proof housing investments need to also ensure extension of basic urban services such as adequate water, waste management, and sanitation coverage. COVID-19 has not only had knock-on effects in how we address access to affordable housing, but also on essential urban services, which make our cities livable communities. Monumental challenges many cities are struggling with are the huge increase in plastic waste from food delivery and takeaways, as well as personal protective equipment. In this light, it is imperative that I revisit with you the progress in implementing the 2019 call of World Habitat Day, that was last year, which focused on the theme of frontier technologies as an innovative tool to transform waste to wealth. Every year, about 8 million tons of plastic materials enter our oceans. Cities in Southeast Asia contribute to over half of it. Much of this is used for around 10 minutes and take up to a millennium to degrade in the environment if uncollected. Indonesia was estimated to be the world's second largest contributor of plastic pollutant in the oceans after China, but has taken action and committed to reduce ocean-bound plastic waste by 70% by 2025 by reducing usage, increasing recycling, and raising public awareness. Urban areas produce more waste than rural areas, and Asian cities are on the front line as they are forecasted to generate about 1.8 billion tons of waste in 2025. The plastic waste most likely to enter the oceans is generated by populations living within 50 kilometers of the coast. If no transformational solutions are implemented, the amount of plastic debris entering the ocean could triple within 3 decades. We need to support cities in their war on waste, especially now with the increase in plastic use from COVID-19. To tackle this problem, ESCAP, supported by the government of Japan following the G20 Osaka Blue Ocean Vision, and ASEAN are undertaking an innovative project named Closing the Loop to mobilize local and regional governments towards action on plastic waste. Closing the Loop promotes moving from a linear economy to a circular economy when it comes to plastics, which are too valuable to waste and too harmful to our marine ecosystems. This is even more important now with the effects of COVID-19. The Closing the Loop project takes an innovation-led, solution-based approach to leverage space application in a new digital tool to help local and regional governments monitor and visualize plastic waste leakages and to map waste hotspots. By applying smart city solutions such as these, we can help cities identify and eliminate plastic pollution hotspots in a cost-effective manner. 4 pilot cities from ASEAN joined the project. One of them is our host today, Surabaya, Indonesia, alongside Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, Nakhon Si Thammarat in Thailand, and Da Nang in Vietnam. Surabaya has an ambitious target of becoming free of plastic waste by next year. In 2018, Surabaya developed a creative way for residents to recycle waste by giving free bus rides in exchange for plastic waste. A 2-hour bus ticket costs 10 plastic cups or up to 5 plastic bottles. After collection, plastic waste is auctioned off to recycling companies. In Da Nang, Vietnam, where plastic waste is known as white pollution, up to 60% of waste generating households and businesses lie within 500 meters from waterways. With our support, each of the project cities will apply innovative solutions to manage and recycle single-use plastic in the city. The lessons learned from the project will be shared through city-to-city and region-to-region exchanges, as well as in the next Asia-Pacific Day for the Ocean, hosted by ESCAP, to encourage more and more leaders internationally to develop innovative approaches to local plastic waste management. In summary, solutions to the increasing plastic waste challenge in our cities are continually needed as part of building back better from COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that similar solutions can be achieved this year under the new theme of Housing for All. ESCAP's role is to drive regional cooperation and strong partnership which are needed to bring sustainable solutions to all cities. Together, we can lay the foundation for safe, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable cities and take sustainable urban development a step further in Asia and the Pacific. I would like to wish all of you a very successful Habitat Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Executive Secretary of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, Ms. Armida Salsia Ali Shafana, for joining us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, today is being celebrated at some 50 events around the world, from Kabul to New York, the Philippines to Toronto. We will now speak to participants in two of the celebrations.
We will start in Cameroon, where they are celebrating a week of World Habitat Day. We will speak to the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, the Honorable Celestine Quecha Cortes.
The screen is yours. It seems that we still need the connection to get through the Honorable Celestine Quecha Cortes. But ladies and gentlemen, it's back on screen.
its progress towards achieving the right to housing and adequate standards of living for all. Today in the morning, we were very proud to see the results of so many years of preparation and consultations as Egypt launched its national housing strategy, guided by the UN Habitat Global Housing Strategy, guided by human rights recommendations and national visions and strategies. The virtual launching was attended by over 100 participants, where the first Deputy Minister of Housing, Utilities and Urban Communities and the Head of Housing and Utilities Sector, Engineer Nafisa Hashim, presented the National Housing Strategy, followed by a very substantive and interesting conversation from the participants. And then with the presentation, we had a presentation on the Global Housing Strategy and the Housing from All by the global section of the global division for land and housing and shelter section. We also had we had a session on questions and answers, and we are really happy to join you today now to give some highlights, which we will be presenting with a short video that you can see with us now. I also want to note that you can access the housing strategy of the Egypt National Housing Strategy in English and Arabic through our UN Habitat website. So let's watch the video together for 3 minutes.
The event started today with welcoming of Engineer Nafisa Hashim, the head of the housing sector and the housing and utilities sector in the Ministry of Housing, Utilities and Urban Communities in Egypt. Engineer Nafisa has been working very closely and with her team, with UN Habitat's team, in the formulation of the National Housing Profile, which was published in 2016, and subsequently in the National Housing Strategy, which is proudly being launched today. Dr. Rania Hdeya gave the welcoming notes to Engineer Nafisa, followed by Dr. Arfan Ali, the Regional Director of the Office of the Arab States, who had congratulated the Egyptian Ministry of Housing on their leadership to issue the National Housing Strategy for Egypt and to have this housing strategy based on human rights and following the global housing strategy. Dr. Arfan Ali also shared the key importance of issuing such a strategy during the era of COVID, which re-ensured the importance of bringing housing back to the center of the development agenda. Engineer Nafisa then presented key highlights from the Egyptian National Housing Strategy. She mentioned the relationship between the strategy and the new urban agenda. She highlighted the human rights-based perspective of the strategy, the different pillars and the different components of the strategy, making sure that this strategy can be an enabler to having a better and improved accessible housing for all in Egypt. The session of the presentation was followed by a questions and answer session, which included a number of questions that came from the floor, focusing on low-income housing, accessibility, affordability, sustainability of the housing sector in Egypt. The discussion was then introduced the Global Housing Strategy, a presentation by the Global Housing Solution by UN Habitat, which presented the global campaign Housing for All. After the campaign was presented, another sessions of questions and answers were discussed, where some of the participants gave questions to the different panelists, and the discussion was concluded by the main recommendations of the strategy. Today, we are very happy to have the different stakeholders participate in such a global event, and we are also happy to continue with the dialogue with the different stakeholders in Egypt and in the Arab region and also around the world towards sustainable housing and sustainable urban development for all in Egypt and globally. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you so much for following the video with us, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rania Hdeya, Head of UN Habitat's Egypt Program. Thank you for joining us.
And Micha, the good news is it seems that we have established a great connection back to Cameroon. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to return to Cameroon, that we are going to hear the speech coming from the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, the Honorable Celestine Quecha Cortez. The screen is yours.
share the highlights of the as well as giving and pointing out message how before continuing my remarks, I would like to acknowledge and thank the President of African Union, the President of the Society on Housing and Urban Development of the AU and the Ministry of Infrastructure, Equipment, and Housing, the Economic Commission of the United Nations, and the Deputy Director of UN in the celebration of WorldHabitatDay and the main event of the continent was metro and CBD and roundtable for housing for all in Senegal, in Benin, Mozambique, Kenya, Comoro, Guinea, Burundi, and Cameroon. Campaign and Cameroon and for local authorities from SB and the new urban agenda in Burkina Faso and Cameroon has been made. At the end of this session, we pretend that the need of decent housing in Africa learned. But it is an opportunity, not lost, for national and international investment. Achieve urbanization must be implemented based on priority investment and be in the measures and smart to coordinate stakeholders and increasingly share resources with a focus to integrate urban transportation. It is at this level that UN has responsibility, namely to support the design and implementation of contextualized approach to real estate development and to reduce the deficit of housing at on the continent, estimate that $50 billion and indicate by their of unique the architecture to finding that members for the design and implementation of security force increase decent housing fighting under the security agenda, the African reform, African future of the world. Honorable Minister, in Cameroon, like the mayor one, we have been able to take on the urban and the solution for reducing the housing deficit, estimated today of billion units. Part of public housing units of the program of President Paul Biya in Cameroon served as COVID-19 quarantine with the aim to reduce infection and ensure of
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Honorable Celestine Queicho-Cortez. It seems that we have to move to the next agenda. We now have the honor to have a statement from Her Royal Highness Princess Lamia bint Majed Al Saud, UN Habitat Regional Goodwill Ambassador for Arab States. The screen is yours.
Hello everyone and good afternoon. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to be with you here today. First of all, I would like to express my deep thanks and gratitude for being appointed as the first UN Habitat Goodwill Ambassador for the Arab region this February. Of course, with such a title comes a great responsibility, and I must say that I will fulfill this responsibility with great pride and determination. Second, I would like to thank you and Habitat for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this event on World Habitat Day 2020. as it presents the opportunity to engage in a global discussion on the transformative impact of COVID-19 on the housing sector, of course. Indeed, there is no better time than this to be discussing such a critical topic, the topic of housing and providing a better urban future for all. This year has not been easy on anyone, of course, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, has shifted people's life and created major changes in society. This pandemic has forced people to quarantine in their homes. People have been instructed to social distance and to wash their hands and stay, of course, at home. But what about those people who do not have this advantage of having a roof on top of their heads or running water? What about the people who are living in condensed area that does not have support such measures? According to the UN Habitat, there are around 1 billion people who live in slums, informal settlement, and in overcrowded and inadequate housing. There is also around 2.4 billion people who lack adequate access to safe water and sanitation. The UN Habitat were very aggressive in addressing this situation, and they were successful in providing solutions. So I would like to thank again the UN Habitat for all its efforts in supporting local government and for providing community-driven solutions in informal settlements during this pandemic. At Al Walid Philanthropy, it has always been top priorities for us to provide homes and adequate shelter for people who are struggling. For example, one of our initiatives is providing 1,000 units per year in Saudi Arabia, in all around Saudi Arabia. We actually duplicated this project with one of our partner in Egypt, so we're providing 1,000 unit as well for the needy people. Of course, as everyone knows, our philanthropy works in 180 countries around the world, so the housing projects have been duplicated, whether in Indonesia, we constructed and we built over 100 housing units in Africa, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Senegal, in Ghana, in Albania. One of the projects that I'm really proud of is working with different partners around the world, because unity is very important. To deliver much better quality, we have to collaborate and we have to unite with each other. One of the most projects that I'm personally very proud of is collaborating with the Nubian Vault. We actually worked in houses in Africa, not only providing houses, no, but also training masons. So we actually contributing in the economy of each country and how to provide opportunities for youth and job opportunities. And I hope this will be an inspiration to all of us whose privileges, and we have our houses, our home, our family safe. I just want to ask you to rethink of giving more and providing more for people who doesn't have this privilege or doesn't have a roof on top of their heads or even a running water. This is a very critical time and crucial time for us to gather together and reflect what we feel and what we want to do. So I hope from here, I would like to again thank the UN Habitat and address this request to everyone on the platform just to do more to provide a better housing for people around the world. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Royal Highness Princess Lamia bint Majid Al Saud, UN Habitat Regional Goodwill Ambassador for Arab States, for joining us.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will now hear from the Executive Director of UN Habitat, Ms. Maimuna Muhammad Sharif, who is now live in Subang Jaya, Malaysia.
Excellencies, honorable ministers, honorable mayors, distinguished guests, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you in this global world. It is my pleasure to officially launch the Urban Agenda platform and particularly association with Subang Jaya and Surabaya, which is a true home of new urban agenda. As many of you will recall, the third and the last preparatory committee for Habitat 3, the UN Conference on Housing and Sustainable Urban Development, was held here in Surabaya in 2016. This was followed by the Habitat 3 conference itself in Quito, Ecuador. Today, we are back in this city to celebrate the launch of global platform on the new urban agenda and the urban-related SDGs, facilitated by UN Habitat. The new urban agenda provides us with the opportunity to collectively reflect and to share progress on what has been done since 2016 by governments and all other stakeholders. It is the space for member states to share their voluntary reports on progress in the implementations on the new urban agenda, and for all stakeholders to share what they are doing and to make commitment and also to committed action moving forward. These include a repository of best practices, data, resources online training materials, and others. We will be seeking new ways to closely align the deliberations at the World Urban Forum every 2 years with the updates that we have available on the Urban Agenda platform. This platform is part of the declared action at the 10th World Urban Forum in Abu Dhabi. I am glad that we are now able to fulfill our commitment to make it available to all stakeholders. As part of today's launch, I am proud to also officially release the first part of UN Habitat's new urban agenda outline course, which is featured on the platform and is ready for use. Ladies and gentlemen, the new urban agenda platform would not be possible without the many consultants and support and many consultation with others, which we had over the last year from different partners. And I would like to extend my deep appreciation to all of you for all your support. Let us use this momentum. Let us build on this and new partnership to make the new urban agenda platform relevant and effective space to nurture all the information needed for sustainable cities and to become a reality for all. I hereby declare the new urban agenda platform is officially launched. And we would now like to share a short video about the Urban Agenda platform. Please.
Surabaya is a home city of the third session of the Habitat 3 Preparatory Committee held in July 2016. This was the last round of negotiations that gave birth to the new urban agenda. More than 5,000 government and civil society representatives from 160 countries met in Indonesia to negotiate how to shape urbanization processes in the next 2 decades. A few months later, world leaders met at the Habitat 3 conference in Quito, Ecuador, for the United Nations Forum on Housing and Urban Development to adopt the new urban agenda. An action-oriented document The new urban agenda presents a shared vision for a better and more sustainable urban future. The global agenda provides a roadmap on how urbanization and city governance can be drivers of change and achieve the sustainable development goals. 4 years later, again in Surabaya, UN Habitat is launching a global platform. The platform will enable governments and stakeholders to report progress, share ongoing and new actions being taken, learn and inform through best practices, online learning and resources, and engage in urban forums. This is the Urban Agenda platform. The platform provides a virtual space for all stakeholders to share their experiences, progress and plans to inspire new ideas in our work towards sustainable development. Surabaya deals with the very urban development challenges that are discussed in the new urban agenda. These are the provision of decent housing and basic services for all, the creation of inclusive urban economies, the extension of public transport, and the overarching vision of a green, sustainable, and people-centered city. Through encouraging evidence-based policy making and easy access to information, ranging from data to personal stories, we will take the most effective measures for a better urban world in our cities and communities. You can take action today to contribute to the implementation of the new urban agenda and achieve the sustainable development goals. Visit the urbanagendaplatform.org to find out more.
The theme of the World Habitat Day 2020 is Housing for All, for a Better Urban Future. It is my pleasure now to launch the 5-week Housing for All campaign today. In the next 5 weeks, we hope to raise awareness about the role of housing as the basis for thriving cities, communities, and individuals. We also hope to gather solutions and encourage global commitments to providing housing for all. A house is more than just a roof over our heads. A house is critical for health, safety, and dignity. It gives sense of belonging and well-being for people to grow, to engage, to live, to work, and learn together. In short, housing for all is a critical part of development. During this COVID-19 crisis, we have seen the positive impact of providing homes and shelter to communities. With adequate housing and protections, peoples can thrive and cities can recover. It is a central component to ensure that we do not leave anyone and any place behind. Because our homes are our first line of defense, it is clear that housing is a human right. We all have a shared responsibility as stakeholders to ensure housing for all. During these 5 weeks, our call to action is for everyone to commit to ensuring adequate housing for all. We will showcase the best housing solutions and ask partners to share their own models in order to inspire others. I hope you all take part in this campaign, which is also featuring a documentary film called The Human Shelter by Danish film director Boris B. Bottom. We will now see a clip from this documentary, which will also be available on UN Habitat's YouTube channel. Please, the video on the human shelter. Thank you.
Tää oli musta ruokkotulla. Tää kun mun elämä. Nuotelette pankaruhtumus. Tälle talvet, kirrat, käsi, Yeah, first check.
で12人から13人ぐらいが、まあ、それぞれ友達同士で集まってでみんなでなんていうかまあ、気持ちよく楽しく暮らせる家を作ろうっていうことで。
Lo tre, e geta me lo coloni e o me dom. Lo e me ta e me dewi. Sumanywa na me rindo dido bede. Mi do poro fa me do aya ijeme lo. Eno yo, wo ezo mi do lo po aya ijeme.
هذا عندي غاب جبته من هناك وياي من جيت من صلاح الدين. ربحت في هذا المخيم هو أن نجيت أنا وعائلتي من الموت في هذه المنطقة.
البيت مكان الذي أعيش فيه. ساعدوني حتى ساعدوني إلى أن أصل إلى مجتمع. Thank you. مجتمع.
Now, I'm going to deliver my statement as an Executive Director of UN Habitat for the World Habitat Day 2020. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all of you. It is wonderful to see so many celebrations around the world. And I have been told that more than 50 cities are hosting events to commemorate the World Habitat Day for this year. I am particularly thankful to the government of Indonesia and the city of Surabaya for hosting the global observance of World Habitat Day 2020. Let me also thank the city of Subang Jaya here in Malaysia for providing me with this wonderful hall and the support services to enable us to be connected to multiple cities at the same time. Thank you very much, Subang Jaya. And Surabaya too. What a difference a year makes. 12 months ago, we celebrated World Habitat Day in Mexico City in person with Madam Marta Delgado, our UN Habitat Assembly President. COVID-19 has turned things upside down. The latest figures show some 34 million people have been infected with over 1 million global deaths. I have been informed by my team that every precaution has been taken to ensure that this hybrid live and virtual event takes place safely. Our health is of paramount importance. Ladies and gentlemen, every year, World Habitat Day presents to all of us an opportunity to reflect on the state of the world cities, town, and human settlement. We take stock of our efforts to ensure no one and no place is left behind. We also come together to figure out a way to progress better together. 2020 presents us with a major challenge. On all fronts, our collective aspiration to meet the 2030 SDG targets have been pushed back by COVID-19. We estimate millions to fall into poverty as lockdowns impact on our socio-economic progress. The pandemic also gave rise to an economic depression not seen before since World War II. At UN Habitat, as the penholder to the Secretary General Policy Brief on COVID-19 in an urban world, we sprang into action very early. Since 15 March, we have been collaborating with more than 1,000 cities, with all our 193 member states, providing them guidance on how to cope with the socio-economic impacts of the pandemic. With 95% of the confirmed cases of COVID-19 happening in cities and urban areas, it is very clear that we need collective and multilateral efforts if human settlements are to recover from this global crisis. It is critical, in this critical moment like now, that we look deep into ourselves and return to basics. For us at UN Habitat, the pandemic highlighted our core mandate, which is adequate shelter for all. Hence, this year, the World Habitat Day theme is Housing for All, a Better Urban Future. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been told that the best advice to keep safe from COVID-19 is to keep social distance, wash our hands, and stay at home. As those on the front line, you know that these simple measures are impossible to many. There are an estimated 1.8 billion people living in slum and informal settlements. There are inadequate housing and have no access to basic services. Even in developed countries, there are still millions who are homeless. Part of our immediate action, working with 64 countries around the world, is the UN Habitat's COVID-19 response plans, which is still ongoing. We have seen eviction halted, shelter found for the homeless, hand washing stations set up in slum, and highways turned into pedestrian areas. We now need to ensure that the fast reaction, particularly from national and local government, is maintained, and we have policies and legislation to ensure adequate housing for all. Inclusive, affordable, and adequate housing is the central to transforming our cities and communities and making them resilient and to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goal 11 and all the SDGs. It is essential that we do not return to the normal before COVID-19. We need to build back better and greener. The Secretary General emphasized that the recovery is an opportunity to rethink urban living, to address the climate crisis, and adapt to the reality of this and the future pandemics. We now have 10 years left to achieve the ambitious Sustainable Development Goals, and right now, the achievement of the SDG may seem far away, but yet, I believe we can reach these goals eventually, and the key is our cities and communities. Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have come a long way since the creation of the United Nations 70 years ago. There has been important progress in peace building and security, poverty reduction, clean water and improved sanitation, gender equality, and other critical areas of development. Let us also highlight progress made in the area of housing and shelter, which is our most fundamental right. UN Habitat is working to ensure that a better urban future for all around the world. Please look at our catalog of services, which is available on our website. It outlines a whole range of services that we can provide to help cities and communities meet the great challenges of our time. To all the mayors attending this global observance in 50 events happening worldwide, please also consider committing to carrying out the voluntary local reviews. We need to localize the SDG in this decade of action, and I call for your support to scale this up, starting from today's global observance of World Habitat Day. Finally, let us join forces to respond to the current crisis, to share solutions and create cities of the future for everyone. We need to empower individuals, communities, neighborhoods, and cities to take a small step together to build back better and to build back greener for future generations. Thank you. Sese, shukran, merci, spasiba, gracias.
Thank you so much, UN Habitat Executive Director, Ms. Maimunah Mahmud Sharif in Subang Jaya, Malaysia.
And for the next statement will be delivered by the Indonesian Minister of National Development Planning, the Honorable Dr. Suharso Monoarfa.
It seems that we still wait to make connection with the Minister of National Development Planning, of Indonesian Minister of National Development Planning, Honorable Dr. Suharso Monoarfa. But ladies and gentlemen, please stay around up until the event is over, because we will announce also the 2020 Scroll of Honor Awards. So it's going to be very exciting for all of us.
Meanwhile, we are still waiting for the connection for the statement coming from the Indonesian Minister of National Development Planning.
And beyond, ladies and gentlemen, on this opportunity, we also would like to inform you that this global observance of the World Habitat Day is also continued on the next day. So tomorrow will be 3 high-level roundtables discussions, and I believe this is going to be very fruitful to all of us, and I do hope that this will elevate anything to make a world a better place,
Yes.
especially Surabaya and other places in the world.
And it's truly an honor for us, Surabaya, to be the host for this beautiful event and to showcase our culture to the world that we are going to enjoy in a few minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, maybe while enjoying your dinner, please still be patient, because we are going to showcase our traditional culture to you all in this very event?
We do have a medley of cultural performances this evening, and some of them are really, really fascinating. So we do hope that you can enjoy this evening as much as we do here on the stage. And I just got the information that the connection to Jakarta is quite rocky at the moment.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have a trouble, difficulty to connect with Jakarta from this very moment. So maybe, shall we continue to our next program?
Okay, we still need the confirmation from the event organizers. I see.
All right.
The President of the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Joko Widodo. The Honorable, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Republic of Indonesia, the Honorable UN Countries Delegation, the Honorable, the Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia for the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable, the Government of East Java Province, the Honorable, the Mayor of Surabaya, Head of Association of Indonesia Municipalities, leaders, experts, and activists of environmental, housing, and settlement issues, representative of universities and academia, representative of profession association and non-governmental organization, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the global community is celebrating World Habitat Day 2020. We all welcome this year's theme, Housing for All, a Better Urban Future. We meet to share experiences and design innovative strategies for more comfortable, inclusive, and sustainable housing, settlement, and urban development. The theme, House for All, is very relevant today because of the increasingly complex challenges. One of those challenges is the COVID-19 pandemic that has hit the entire world. These days, the world community rises to fight this pandemic. With a global partnership, we seek to provide a vaccine for the safety of the global population. We all realize that housing is an important essential need and precondition for properly accessing other basic needs such as education and health. A house is not just a physical building but also a cultural nursery and a basis for human resource development. Currently, the house is a place of protection from the spread of COVID-19 and is the center of community activities such as work from home and school from home. All activities now from home. Today, more than half of Indonesian population live in cities, urban area, even metropolitan. To consider this context, Indonesia has accommodated new urban agenda platform and the principles of sustained development goals into national city policy planning. Since 2017, President of Indonesia, Bapak Joko Widodo, has launched the acceleration of implementation of SDGs. The Indonesian government strongly supports today's theme, Housing for All, in national planning in Indonesia. The government strives to gradually increase community access to decent, safe, and affordable housing and settlements. We put down 3 strategies, namely the demand side, the supply side, and the enabling environment. A number of steps includes 1. expansion of housing finance facilities, especially for lower middle income people and building housed independently. Number 2, housing subsidy reform that is more efficient and targeted. Number 3, developing services for the public housing savings agency. Number 4, increasing the provision of housing that meet building reliability standard and is integrated with basic housing infrastructure, including the public transportation system. Number 5, development of flat-based public housing system in urban areas. Number 6, urban rejuvenation inclusively in the context of realizing cities without slum settlement. In particular, the government Indonesia pays attention to the sustainable handling of slum areas. This revitalization includes slum upgrading activities using the vertical land consolidation approach based on regional arrangement and renovation without displacing them. We encourage a comprehensive arrangement of slum area, integrated and participative urban regeneration. Apart from dealing with slum settlements, is also at the same time providing housing supply capacity in urban area. In line with the principles of the National Urban Policy, currently Indonesia is designing a sustainable urban policy 2045. In this design, we consider the global megatrend factor, significant future demographic changes, as well as equitable development across regions in Indonesia. We design balanced, inclusive, advanced, green and cultural urban system, which is supported by good urban governance, including a digital transformation strategy. Indonesia has raised good lessons from various local, city, and district government in managing cities that are livable, inclusive, and sustainable. One of them is the city of Surabaya, with increasingly complex challenges, innovative, participatory, collaborative, and breakthrough strategy are needed. Housing for all is the responsibility of all us. Every citizen has the right and opportunity to obtain decent services in the aspect of housing and settlement, as well as urban area. The COVID-19 pandemic is a moment for all of us to rethink adequate, inclusive, and sustainable housing and cities. With World Habitat Day, let us step together, hand in hand, to realize housing for all, a better urban future. Thank you.
The Indonesian Minister of National Development Planning, Honorable Dr. Suharto Mono Arfa, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going back to Subang Jaya, Malaysia. I would like to invite back to the podium once again the UN Habitat Executive Director, Ms. Maimunah Muhammad Sharif, to do the awarding of the Scroll of Honor. The screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Surabaya. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very honored to announce the winners of the 2020 Scroll of Honor Awards. We had a very high standard of entries this year, and we appreciated all those who sent their nominations. Please see a short video with an overview of the work of our winners. to all. The first of the 5 winners is the Ministry of Housing and Cities of Colombia. The award is for the leadership in the development of an urban policy that promotes sustainable housing and cities, putting housing at the center. We can now see a video of some of the work carried out by the ministry. Please. I would like to congratulate Colombia's Ministry of Housing and Cities and hand over to the Minister of Housing, Cities and Territories, Mr. Jonathan Malagon, for a few words. Mr. Malagon will speak live from Colombia. Over to you, Mr. Malagon.
Muy buenos días a todos. Quiero comenzar por saludar a su excelencia, el señor Joko Widodo, señor presidente de la República de Indonesia, a su excelencia, mi colega, el doctor Basuki Hadi Mulyono, el ministro de Obras Públicas y de Vivienda de Indonesia, a la honorable Tri Rismaharini, la alcaldesa de Surabaya en Indonesia, nuestra anfitriona, al honorable señor Antonio Guterres, secretario general de las Naciones Unidas, a la subsecretaria general de la ONU y directora de ONU Habitat, Maimuna Mosharif, a su excelencia, el señor embajador Juan Camilo Valencia, embajador de Colombia en Indonesia, a Elkin Velázquez, el director para América Latina de ONU Habitat. A todos, señoras y señores, muy buenos días. Colombia recibe con inmenso agrado este reconocimiento. Hoy, en el Día Mundial del Hábitat, tiene un gran significado para nuestro país recibir el Pergamino de Honor, el más importante de los reconocimientos del mundo al diseño de política y hábitat. Este reconocimiento, más que el ministerio, es un reconocimiento a todo el gobierno de Colombia, al gobierno liderado por el presidente Duque, que ha logrado superar algunas falsas disyuntivas en el diseño de política de vivienda. Nosotros nos hemos trazado, teniendo como norte los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible y la nueva agenda urbana, una propuesta de política de vivienda que rebasa algunos de estas disyuntivas que tradicionalmente han enfrentado los responsables de política. Nuestra política de vivienda no solamente se trata de hacer nuevas casas, nuestra política de vivienda también ha incluido un componente de reducción del déficit cualitativo que nos ha permitido llevar el programa más ambicioso de la historia del país en mejoramiento de vivienda. No solamente estamos reduciendo el déficit
housing, we're not reducing historically, but we are assigning more than 600,000 subsidies for the purchase of housing and giving access to drinking water for the first time of 6.8 million Colombians. In addition, we're ratifying a commitment to move towards a country with greater equity where we leave no one behind. We don't want to leave behind the renovation, urban renovation, and the growth of countries in the way that we are organizing these territorial municipalities and simplifying their with modern urban development. This is an integral, comprehensive that goes to the urban and goes to the rural areas. It doesn't go to the quantitative area only. It also addresses quantitative and qualitative to not leave anyone behind. We are receiving this recognition in a Latin American level. It reflects what is taking place in all our region. We have a group of professionals of the most highest level, responsible of authorities of housing, authorities, government. We are working together. We are sharing together with best practices, with references in all our political activities and emulate them in many other countries. And in this job that we're doing among all the ministers of Latin America and the Caribbean, the role that UN Habitat is taking is definitive. I would like to say Aiken Velasquez to all the group of WorldHabitat of Latin America for being the most important ally in this group of ministers of Latin American ministers of housing. What we have obtained today, what are we facing in the future? What is the sector we are going to grow? It didn't allow us to face the great challenges of the pandemic, but it was transformed today in the main element of the recuperation recovery against pandemic. This morning we have seen the sales in Colombia, and we can say this month, September, was the best month in the history of our country. Never before have we been able to market so many social houses. Never have we given subsidies as much as many in the history of our economy. We are going to go in future hand in hand. We're not going to let anyone behind, and our country is going to be a powerful justice, social justice tool. Thank you very much.
Honorable Mr. Malagon, the Minister of Housing, Cities and Territories. Congratulations again to Colombia, Ministry of Housing and Cities. The second winner of the Scroll of Honor is Subang Jaya Municipal Council, Malaysia. The award is for Subang Jaya's holistic and integrated approach to affordable housing and community empowerment. Here is a video about the work of Subang Jaya. Please. And I'm here personally in Subang Jaya to present the trophy to Mayor Noraini Roslan of Subang Jaya Municipal Council and to request her to say a few words to us afterwards.
¿Qué va a hacer el alcalde? Solo... Se han robado ahí.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to all our colleagues in Surabaya and the rest of the world. Honorable ED of UN Habitat, Datuk Sri Maimunah binti Muhammad Sharif, Your Excellencies, honorable ministers, honorable mayors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Subang Jaya City Council is truly grateful to accept the UN Habitat Scroll of Honor Award today. As in many cities across the globe, Subang Jaya City's residents come from all walks of life. Around 5% of the city's total population, involving approximately 10,775 families, live in low-cost flats in units that measured 650 square feet. These houses are scattered around 122 locations in the municipality. Even though the majority of these units are individually owned, the City Council, as the Commissioner of Stratified Building, have to intervene into their challenges of poor maintenance, lack of cooperation among residents, dirty and dilapidated public areas, not to mention issues concerning the residents themselves, such as financial, education, employment, and social problems. Since 2018, Subang Jaya Municipal Council have embarked on the flat adoption programs with 2 low-cost flats as pilots. We enlisted the University of Technology Malaysia to design and lead the program in one site and tried our own approach on the other project. By 2019, we were confident enough to replicate the project to 24 other sites, whereby each of the 24 city councillors is assigned 1 low-cost flat that need most attention within their area. The councillors are assisted by 3 special task officers and a budget allocation of 25,000 ringgit as seed fund to initiate a cleanliness, recycle, community garden, placemaking, and entrepreneurial projects. An impact measurement done on economic outcome at the 2 initial projects saw an increase in income, new skill, productions of sellable goods, and creation of budding entrepreneurs, on top of a much cleaner, vibrant, and harmonious living environment. By 2020, 3 of the 24 project sites are able to mentor 3 other sites. We hope to upgrade the outlook and livelihood of all 122 low-cost sites by 2025. Needless to say that a lot more needs to be done, but what started as an aspiration to empower the bottom 10% of the city residents has evolved into a program that promises to leave no one behind and to elevate the quality of lives for the less fortunate among us. It is Subang Jaya's hope that this program be the inspiration for other cities around the world in their effort to make our cities more livable, inclusive, and a happy place to be. Once again, I thank the UN Habitat for honoring Subang Jaya with this prestigious award, and to all the councillors, personnel, residents that make the project possible. Terima kasih banyak-banyak.
Thank you very much, Mayor Noraini Raslan, and congratulations again to Subang Jaya Municipal Council. Our next winner is Community Impact Nepal from Kathmandu, Nepal. The award is for empowering entrepreneurs to produce eco-friendly
make a real change, never ever give up. Thank you so much. Thanks again. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pratik from the Community Impact Nepal. The fourth winner is the Upcycle Africa from Uganda for transforming life through affordable housing provision, waste education, and job opportunities. Congratulations to the Upcycle Africa for your excellent work. The founder and the CEO of the Upcycle Africa, Mr. John Mary Kavuma, join us now from Uganda. Over to you, Mr. Kavuma.
I'm very happy to be virtually here. Good evening, good afternoon, and good afternoon to everybody around the world. We are so excited to be here and to be among the awardees for this UN Scholar of Honor Award. I would like to thank the team members and everyone who has been able to be part of this journey. This journey has been so difficult. For example, personally, I grew up as a poor orphan in a remote and rural area in Uganda, where housing was really a challenge. One day, a bad incident happened where our house collapsed because of huge accumulation of plastic waste in a trench next to our house. And this caused me getting a lot of injuries on my head. And my grandmother, my only beloved grandmother, died from the injuries she suffered. So I decided to turn this painful and difficult past into a motivation of creating a social business that is standing for uplifting the lives of marginalized groups of people, as well as providing affordable homes to people in rural communities especially. So at Upcycle Africa, we are constructing affordable houses from plastic waste as a raw material, while empowering communities, especially the youths, on the way they can be able to turn plastic waste into eco-building materials. Since our inception, we have been able to construct over 117 houses in different parts of Uganda and Africa. Fortunately, for example, we constructed a house in South Africa where we also trained youths on the way they can be able to replicate this idea to their own communities. We are partnering with different organizations in Nigeria and Ghana on the way they can be able to use plastic waste as a resource, as well as creating or constructing homes for people in communities. We have been able to construct other homes in refugee camps in Uganda, for example, in one of the biggest refugee camps in the refugee settlement, where we have been able to construct homes which are acting as both houses for residentials, as well as learning centers for refugees, so that they can be able to get or to unleash their potentials through those houses. And we've been able to construct other houses in different, another refugee camp, that is Nashiva Refugee Settlement, where we have been able to construct over 20 houses now. So we are so proud to be part of, to be honored and get this award. And to us, this means a lot, and to the community that we are working in. Thank you so much.
Upcycle Africa. Now I would like to congratulate our last winner, Eco Casa SHF Mexico. Their representative is at the Global Observance in Surabaya. So now I would like to hand over to the Mayor of Surabaya, the Honorable Ibu Tri Risma Harini, who will present the award on behalf of UN Habitat. Over to you, Ibu.
Thank you, Ibu. Thank you, Executive Director we have the last winner of the UN Habitat Scroll of Honor Awards with us here in Surabaya. This is Ekokasa SHF, and the award is for addressing energy efficient construction standard for housing, facilitating inclusive access to financial mechanism and creating decent homes. Here is a video about the work of Ekokasa. All the way to here, to Surabaya, to receive the plaque which I will present on behalf of UN Habitat, and we will then hear a few words from Dr. Alvarez.
Please take a moment to take the picture together. Dr. Jose David Alvarez and Ibu Tri Risma hari ini.
And her Executive Director, Mrs. Maimouna Mod Sharif, for selecting CHF Ekokasa as a program that promotes adequate, sustainable housing and supports sustainable urban development. This prestigious award is a recognition of housing sector in Mexico. Today, on this World Habitat Day, under challenge, Housing for All, a better urban future, the countries need to increase opportunities, availability, and affordability for low-income people. One initiative, it can be develop as social bonds with the support of wealth countries in order to use these funds for economy recovery.
And I want to invite my colleagues. We call it Forum Pimpinan Daerah, Forpimda, from Surabaya. There's from the police, and then from the Apa tuh kejaksaan? Pak, silakan. Silakan Bapak datang ke sini. Enggak kelihatan, sudah pulang. Ya, saya mohon menemani kami, Bapak Ibu.
A special token of appreciation from Surabaya to Mexico. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your effort and time to be here to join us in this World Habitat Day celebration in Surabaya. A special gift. It's called an udeng. Eh?
Yes. It is a very specific and special attire of East Java.
Invite a special guest also.
We would like to invite His Excellency, the Ambassador of Colombia, Mr. Juan Camilo Valencia Gonzalez, to join us on the stage.
And also a udeng.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Now
And
you
we-
are officially Surabayans.
We would like to invite also His Excellency, the Ambassador of Mexico, Mr. Armando G. Alvarez, to join us on the stage. So this udang is also a reminder that you have a home away from home, right?
This is a symbol of Surabaya, a small statue that is a logo of Surabaya, and also an udang, a traditional hat. Okay.
And last but not least, Dion and ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Sekretaris 3 KBRI Nairobi, Mr. Pradono Anindito. Please join us on the stage.
Baik, terima kasih sekali lagi untuk Sekretaris 3 KBRI Nairobi, Mr. Pradono Anindito, menyempatkan kehadirannya untuk malam hari ini.
Please take a moment to receive the udang and the souvenir and to take the photo together with Ibu Tri Risma hari ini.
Kita berikan kesempatan ini untuk dapat berfoto bersama. Ladies and gentlemen, can I hear a round of applause for this beautiful collaboration? Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. And now, Micha, we are going to move on to our next agenda.
Yes.
We are going to be entertained by a special musician. proud Surabayans also.
Yes, indeed. But first of all, congratulations to all the winners. And we have now come to the end of the official opening ceremony of the Global Observance of World Habitat Day.
And ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank you so much for joining us. And we hope that you will be with us again tomorrow for the three high-level roundtables.
Yes, indeed. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you here at the Surabaya City Council, please enjoy the dinner provided. Bapak dan Ibu bisa menikmati hidangan yang sudah disiapkan pada malam hari ini. So we do hope that you enjoy every single East Java cuisines or delicacies. This is a set menu. This is a very rare moment when you are being served. Usually we just do a buffet style, but this time we do the high standard of health protocol.
That's true. But ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you will enjoy the special culinary here in Surabaya. You will taste all the spices from Indonesia. I hope that you will enjoy your dinner for this evening.
And as we promised before, that we do have a medley of cultural performances. And for those of you watching through Zoom meetings and everywhere through the social medias, you can wait to see what we have in store here, or we have in stage here for you. We have several medley of cultural performances. It's going to be very exciting. But as we promised before, as we mentioned before, that we have a special talent going to perform a few songs for us tonight.
That's true, Micha. And he is behind us, ready to sing and ready to entertain us. So ladies and gentlemen, let us together, we are going to talk with Ibam.
Yes. His name is Ibam, ladies and gentlemen. And he has a vision impaired. But the very special about Ibam is taking care of Surabaya City Council together with some friends. But last year, if I'm not mistaken, he went to Liverpool to learn more about independence, more about how to deal with life with vision impairment. Okay, so Ibam is bigger every year, right?
Yeah, I know that. And the most important thing is, in every event, the mayor of Surabaya will invite Ibam to entertain all of their guests. And in every event, Ibam will perform and will sing to entertain all the international guests for international events.
Yes. And usually Ibam will have special songs that Ibu Risma is his favorite of her. So, how are you, Ibam? Hi.
Halo Ibam, selamat malam.
Selamat malam.
Selamat malam Ibam. Kapan kita terakhir ketemu Ibam ya? Kayaknya tahun lalu ya. Last year we met you. Okay.
Ibam sekarang sudah umur berapa?
15 tahun.
15 years old. Okay, so you ready? What kind of songs that you want to play tonight?
I think that Ibam will perform a few songs for this evening, for this special event.
Ah, okay.
And the thing is, the most impressive things about Ibam is Ibam can sing and also playing instruments. That's
at
amazing.
the same time, yes, indeed. Okay. Are you ready?
Ready.
Are you going to sing a dangdut or keroncong or pop or even a K-pop song probably coming to mind? No?
I think he is already prepared to sing.
Ah, okay.
So ladies and gentlemen, one more time, can I hear a round of applause for Ibam?
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, and troubles come and my heart burden be, then I am still and well here in the silence till you come and see the while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to water stormy seas. I am strong when I am warrior soldier. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to waters stormy seas. I am strong when I am your soldier. You raise me up to more than I can. You raise me up so I can stand on mountain. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am strong for others. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountain. You raise me up so I can stand me seas. I am strong when I am on those shoulders. You raise me up so that I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ibam. Thank you very much, Ibam, for a special performance this evening. You always makes us proud every time you perform on this very stage. Thank you very much, Ibam.
Okay, Ibam, thank you so much. Ibu, satu lagu ya Bu ya.
Karena di belakang juga masih ada beberapa talenta yang sudah tidak sabar untuk bisa tampil juga.
Betul sekali, because as we promised before, we do have a medley of cultural performance. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the official opening ceremony of the global observance of the World Habitat Day.
One more time, congratulations to all of our winners. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And we hope that you will be with us again tomorrow for the 3 high-level roundtables.
Okay, my name is Micha Yusuf.
And my name is Dion Edward.
And now please enjoy the cultural performance through your screen. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy.
dalam cahaya, oh kota sejuta kenangan, kaulah kotaku, kota pahlawan.
seri arek Surabaya, arek Surabaya.
Untaping prawadya samapta dapaning praja, tekad nyawiji angolaraga dadya bentenging negara.
Prajurit Duranga siaga melon nusa bangsa. Duranga siaga melon nusa bangsa.
and gentlemen, this concludes our evening. This concludes our agenda for this day. In this beautiful traditional performance of Surabaya and East Java, we thank you very much for this lovely evening.
We do hope that our hospitality makes you feel like Surabaya is your second home. And we do hope to see you again somewhere, and probably somewhere next year. Another international event here in Surabaya. My name is Micha Yusuf.
And my name is Dion Edward.
Have a pleasant evening.